Hi guys, Ian here from Scriptable. Today we're going to be creating a script entirely from scratch and then bringing it to life. Alright guys, before we get started, I have asked my good friend Dudi over at the YouTube channel, Dudi, D-U-D-I, check him out, I'll leave the links in the description. I've asked him for a prompt for this script, so let's take a look.
Hello Scriptable, this is Duty. Yes, I don't show my face. So, I'm wanting to see the process of what it would be like to have a crime noir script film written, and I'm thinking it's in a sort of a traditional not neo-noir, but that traditional noir detective office. You have my demands. Peace out.
Very cool, very cool. I love this detective noir idea. Let's see where it goes and get started. I started out the process by doing some research. There is some fantastic YouTube videos available and soaked in as much knowledge about what really makes up a crime noir, detective noir story. So after doing that, I started my brainstorm process and just had a look and play with modern or traditional and ended up going with the more traditional route and really happy with how that came together. After I had a clear idea in my head about what the story was I was trying to tell here, I started putting these points into a 3-act structure template. Now this template's really useful, and if you're looking for a similar one, there are plenty out there online, but it really is there to make sure that you're hitting all the right beats and that the story feels familiar in some way to other stories that are being told. For me personally, this really helped me make sure that my personal story being told, my protagonist's personal story, also fit into the overall story that I was telling here. I also used it to make sure I was hitting the right beats with detective noir. I knew I wanted to hit some really particular tropes to make sure that felt familiar, and those were darkness, that's what noir means, and all the characters should have a real darkness to them. There's a 30s Italian-American mobster, the femme fatale, and the archetype of the depressed PI. And onto the scripting. So I just followed the storyline that I'd already plotted out in my 3-act structure, and it was more about adding a lot more meat to the bones that were already there. For me, the characters needed to sound distinctive, as they all have their own motivations and their own stories that they're trying to tell, and that should come through in each of their dialogue. I also had some great fun playing with the terminology from the old school movies, words like dame and buzzer, and I used these to help sell the time period I was aiming for. When I was happy with it, I sent it to a friend I could trust to proofread it for me, and I got some terrific, useful feedback. I think it's important to be able to take constructive criticism. It's a great idea to get an outsider's perspective and to use that to improve on how you're delivering your story to an audience. Just remember not to take it personally and to calmly take it all on board, just like me. For my voice actors, I went to Fiverr.com. Costings for voice actors on Fiverr are mostly based on the amount of words that the actor is required to say. So this is another reason why having a professional script writing program like Final Draft comes in extremely handy, because you're able to export reports of how many words these characters are saying. Now I got to start putting it all together. Once all the actors' audio came in, it was simply a matter of lining up all the dialogue. I use Audacity, a free audio editing software that's fairly straightforward to use, and it's very handy to have the script beside you. Because my main character heavily used an internal narrator's voice, because detective noir cliches, I needed to make it clear when he was talking and when he was narrating. I used Audacity's bass and treble effect to not only make him louder in narration, but also add a slight bass to his voice, as if it was inside his own head. I was hoping that the music would help sell the time period my story was set in, so I spent arguably way too long on Epidemic Sound trying to find the perfect jams. For sound effects, I use freesound.org, and I cannot recommend both of these websites enough. With all these songs and sound effects starting to add up though, organisation became key. Then, halfway through my project, my Audacity crashed, and everything went wrong. Yep. This is it. Every single file that was in here, every sound, every song, every dialogue, every single thing that I'd created was gone, flatlined. But it's fine. These things happen. So I calmly took some time away to collect myself. I went for a nice walk, I meditated, considered my place in the universe, and eventually got back to work without much of a fuss, really. Alright guys, I know you're as eager to listen to this as I am to show it to you, so without further ado, here is One Last Job in LA.
To preface, before you go on and judge me, and everything I did it to get back to her. Nothing else mattered. It began with a bang. A car backfired as it pulled up outside the Somerset Hotel. It was just past midnight, and inside room 609, a man and woman were smoking in bed.
What time is it, darling?
Just past midnight? Why, hun?
Shit! I gotta go, baby. You should head out soon, too. I'll leave you cash for a cab, but don't forget to sign out for us, will you? Have you seen... Jesus, Patty! What the hell is this?
As I drove towards the crime scene, I was left wondering how I was even talked into looking into the case in the first place. I was supposed to be looking for my wife. Did she even say which detective was assigned the case? God, I couldn't even remember anymore. And I needed to sober up before I got there. What did she say when she rang again? Yeah?
Is this Bright and Associates?
Yeah, speaking.
Well, who am I speaking with?
Bright. I ain't associated with anyone no more.
Oh, I see. I have a job for you. I need you to investigate a case for me.
Well, I ain't not looking to take on a case at the moment. I'm actually leaving for France next week, you see.
I'll pay cash. Whatever you want, please. You need money for France, right? I need you. I just got a call from a Detective Smith. My husband has been killed.
Lady, I'm a private detective. I don't wear a buzzer. Leave it to the coppers.
I can't. Please, Mr. Bright.
Why not? You don't trust him?
My husband, Jeffrey, he was unfaithful, you see. So, I know they'll suspect that I killed him. Please. Well, Mr. Bright?
Hang on. You can't go in there, sir. Oh, right. It's a closed crime scene, though. I can't let you in.
I've been hired by the wife. I need to get in, just for a quick look.
Is this the new wife, or the same one who left you?
It's not... She didn't... Forget it. I walked past him, beside the hotel and around back. What was he gonna do? Arrest me? Don't mind me. Just here to check the phone lines in room 204 again. This was one of the two reasons why I always carry a screwdriver on me. Pull one of those out, people usually assume you're there to use it. Usually. I decided to stop by the concierge desk. Room 608, the one next door, had a guest sign in, a Patricia G. But she didn't leave no number. As I headed up to 609, I couldn't help but feel this dame was trying to remain hidden. Unlucky for her, that sort of thing is my specialty. I pushed open the door to 609 and was greeted by a familiar face.
You can't be here. Who let you in?
Detective Smith. It's been a long time. I knew Smith back when I was a cop. Seemed like a lifetime ago now. I scanned the room while we spoke, knowing I didn't have long before he threw me out again. I've been hired by the deceased's wife.
The wife? I should hope wives steer clear of you now, Bry. There's a rumor going around.
That I'd killed my wife? I heard that one too. Standing in the center of the room, I work anti-clockwise. You're used to looking at everything left to right, so it helps the brain focus more. Between the bed and the bathroom was the bloodied body, a single gunshot to the chest. But what intrigued me more was all his possessions on the bed. His wallet, keys, room key, and his bank book laid open. Someone had already written the amount in it, but it never got signed. 5000. and I recognized the handwriting.
Look, Brad, I'm not interested in any of that. This is a crime scene for detectives, not formal ones.
I continued around. By the door, on a small timber table, was a second room key for 609. But why? Okay, Smith, I get it. I'm going. Before I could get to the door, though, it opened. A large, well-dressed Italian man entered with his equally large, yet unsurprisingly less sharply dressed goon.
All right, who's heading up this show? Giovanni? What's the meaning of this? What the hell is going on here? You both need to leave, now. How disrespectful, particularly as I just got back from seeing your boss, Brown Lee.
He pulled a note from his cashmere-lined coat and handed it to Smith.
This case is to be shut down. Whatever has been seen here is to be unseen. Understand?
What? This is ridiculous. Suddenly on the floor, I felt Giovanni slide some cash into my pocket while I held my burning face together.
Oh, you all right, kid? Gotta be careful running into fists like that. Here, I'm sure that more than covers a PI salary on a case like this. And enough left over for an ice pack, too. Giovanni!
As I held the money in that phone booth, 500 I counted, I felt dirty, like I'd failed another wife.
Hello?
Mrs. Johnston, this is Bright. I'm just calling to tell you, you're not going to be arrested.
Oh?
But I ain't investigating this case anymore. It's risky just making this call. Don't dig any deeper into your husband's death. Understand?
Detective, what?
I have to go, Virginia. I looked down at the dirty money again. Something just wasn't sitting right. Why were there 2 keys? And why the bank book? Then, it all clicked.
Hello?
It's Brad again. I think we ought to meet.
Detective? I have your money.
Mrs. Johnston, thanks for coming.
So, what's wrong? What's happening?
I just want to get everything out in the open before I take your money. Make sure everyone's accounted for.
Everyone? I don't understand. What do you mean, Detective?
Virginia, this is Patricia.
Hello? What am I doing here exactly, Detective?
Mrs. Johnston, this is the woman your husband was with last night. But you already knew that, didn't you?
Excuse me?
Allow me to explain what I believe happened here, Mrs. Johnston. Firstly, you decided to blackmail your husband.
Mr. Bright!
I assume you were unhappy in your marriage, and when you found out he was cheating on you, you thought up a way to leave him and ensure you had enough money to support yourself afterwards. And to Patricia, and to the bank book, and enter the real reason you hired me and were scared of the cops. But this didn't go to plan, did it, Patty? You see, something wasn't adding up. Why were there 2 keys to the room when he was expecting you? You had your own room booked next door. Surely you would simply go over and knock for him to let you in.
Careful, Detective.
Because your husband followed you, didn't he? He killed your husband, Mrs. Johnston. Because what you didn't know is that Patricia G is Patricia Giovanni, wife of Sebastian Giovanni, the Don.
I can't have this getting out to the police. Or worse, getting back to my husband that you now know.
As Patricia waved the gun between Mrs. Johnston and me, I knew what I had to do.
This was your idea, Virginia, and you hired this creep.
Are you so sure that your husband hasn't followed you again, Patty? Look.
Where?
Of course he wasn't there. I couldn't risk that. I just needed a moment to pull my own gun. Like I said at the beginning, don't judge me. Everything I did to make it back to my wife. And that meant keeping myself alive to see her. As she collapsed to the floor, I walked over to the shaking Virginia Johnston. Then, I took my money out from her hand.
You're a monster. Maybe what they say about what you did to your wife is true.
My wife is a wonderful woman. You orchestrated to blackmail your husband, Mrs. Johnston. You may not have pulled the trigger on him yourself, but your hands are plenty dirty here. Sitting here at LAX, with a whiskey in one hand and a one-way ticket in the other, it really lent perspective to this whole story. If I had learned anything from the case, I guess it was how far I realized I was now willing to go to get my wife back. But now it was finally time to find her. In Paris.
There it is, guys. I'm really proud of how that came together. Couldn't be happy with the final result. I hope you enjoyed it too. And a big thank you to all the wonderful websites, all the photos that I've used, as well as all the sounds and music I've used. But the biggest thank you of all to Duty from the YouTube channel Duty. Don't forget to check him out for that wonderful prompt. And let me know in the comments below who is the next YouTube page we should hit up for our prompt. And as always, do the YouTube stuff, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and I will see you in the next one.